Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Discuss. It's been about a year since we've had our last episode, and we are back with Bashi64 again.
Howdy!
And quite fittingly, we are here to talk about the latest Nintendo Direct. I know that there was one back earlier in the year, and I was going to do something on that, and I had a bunch of other ideas, but I was too busy or had other stuff going on in the background. But we're back, so we're just going to have a nice little discussion, kind of like sort of just recap on what we saw, what we're looking forward to, how the overall Direct was. So I guess we can start with initial thoughts. Luckily I was able to watch it live right before I had my class, but it was something. We'll definitely get into it later, but it was definitely... Yeah, it was a mess, that's for sure. There was
odd.
There was a lot to look forward to, at least a bit to look forward to, but there was also some really whack or just bad announcements, I'd say. I mean, I think there was still enough to salvage it. If there was nothing big or crazy that was announced, I'd say this would have been a really, really bad Direct and a really really shitty. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of stuff that was being announced was kind of really oddball shit.
It's just it was a lot of stuff out of left field.
We'll get to that in a minute, probably. But
yeah. We'll probably just easiest way to probably go through this is just like a play-by-play. Just go over everything that was announced. So right off the bat, we had ourselves a new trailer for Fire Emblem Engage, which is it seems to be another typical Fire Emblem game.
I just have sort of a bias against the series, taking none. But anyone who's excited, I'm happy for you, but I'm not excited, so sorry.
Yeah, see, Fire Emblem is especially now, it's always something okay, maybe I'll consider giving it a try, but most likely not. But mostly because it's not my kind of game. I don't really particularly enjoy tactical RPG games like that. But I mean, I'm still looking forward for something like Advance Wars, which is pretty much the same thing. So who knows? Maybe I might drop that bias and give it a try. It's also just a matter of fitting into that anime genre. I just don't particularly like the emphasis on the anime art style, primarily because a lot of tropes come with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Xenoblade 1 to Xenoblade 2 situation, I feel like. But
yeah, it's jank, to say the least.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. But that's kind of how we started off, and afterwards we got a couple announcements. A lot of it was DLC and other games. The new SpongeBob SquarePants game looked kind of cool, as well as the Fist of the North Star boxing. That one.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I mean,
hey, I'm just gonna say right now, best announcement, whole thing.
Honestly, probably up there. That was cool, and as a fan of Battle for Bikini Bottom, the Cosmic Shake, whatever it's called, also looks pretty cool. So there were some aside from the big announcements, there were a few good or decent highlights sprinkled here and there. So.
There's the front mission remakes are really cool because Front Mission is a small series that everyone initially thought was dead after Left Alive, but hey.
Oh yeah, that game. I think that's cool. I know that they were kind of announced last Direct, and I know that they're making, along with the first two, they're making a remake of the third one, which is pretty cool. So, it seems like it's sort of similar to the Advance Wars genre in that regard. So, just maybe something I could also try. I think next, after, let's see, I'd say there was one simulation game, but we'll have our own section for that. There was the Splatoon 3 Splatfest, which kind of neat. Looking forward for that. I've been playing a good amount of the game as whenever I've had time since it came out last week.
I want to try and get the game at least tomorrow for me.
Ooh, okay, gotcha. Well, hey, kind of going off script here, but if you have some time, be down to play it with you. Get a party set up. Yeah, that'd be cool. But It's cool. So in the trailer, it looked like they were 3 teams fighting on one map, which I don't know if that was for the trailer, but that honestly seemed kind of cool. 3 teams going at it, like that is a really cool idea. That's something I would definitely like. If I don't know if that's legit or not, but that would be something really cool to see. I thought that was like an awesome little announcement that they had. After that, we had a couple more
games.
Yeah. Next we had stuff for Mario and Rabbids: The Sparks of Hope, which I thought was cool. I mean, that looks pretty cool. I'm actually kind of excited for that one to come out. I really like the first one, and I know that in this one you're able to like freely move around instead of like an XCOM style where you have to like choose what area you go to.
Really? Okay. Maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good old tactical fun, if that's not even a term, but I really like the first one. Yeah, sort of. It's kind of like a game of chess, you know.
That's what I describe Fire Emblem as, board game-esque.
Yeah, I think that's something that you could definitely do with a board game. Bunch of other highlights announced after, especially Various Day Life. That's probably the best title of them all, honestly. Various Day Life, all caps.
I think we're supposed to hold that one to the end.
Yeah.
Factorio is finally coming to Switch for all those who actually care.
I mean, I know one person who plays Factorio, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know people play Factorio, but I'm good. Personally.
Yeah, there were some DLC updates for Mario Strikers Battle League, but I'll be honest, I traded the game in less than a month after I bought it.
Yikes.
Yeah, did not like that one. Just not as fun as the GameCube game. In my opinion, that's the best one. I don't really like the Wii one. I don't like the motion controls.
That's off everything there, I'm sure. But oh well.
Yeah, I know.
I'm excited.
I mean, and then there was also the sneak peek of the Booster Course Pass, which is kind of cool. We had Merry Mountain from Mario Kart Tour and Peach
I didn't
Gardens.
get a good look at those because I was mostly fast forwarding through a lot of this video because I was in the middle of class. So
that's fair. I mean, it definitely looks like they're putting a lot more care and effort into the tracks compared to last time. I noticed that in Merry Mountain, they actually seem to have ramps like in Mario Kart Wii, like the ramp mechanic is coming back, which I think is really cool. Allows for more emphasis on like doing tricks and aerial stuff like that. So, it was a bit of a bummer. I thought we were gonna get like a sneak peek of like all of them, but I mean, with the second pack just coming out like a month ago, I guess that wouldn't make much sense to just leak the entire thing. So, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But I mean, nonetheless, it was still a really cool announcement. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting a golf update, which is cool. It looks like multiple people can play golf at once, which pretty neat. For my money, Mario Golf is still the way to go. But I mean, and I have a bit of a bias against the golf in Wii Sports. I'm just really bad at it. I can't seem to hit the ball right. It always goes where I don't want it to. It pisses me off. So.
Well, then next we have the Motherload. Well, the thing before the Motherload.
Probably the big, the bigger announcement. We got Mr. Miyamoto on screen, and I feel like a lot of us were kind of thinking, okay, either something Mario or Zelda related. That wasn't the case at first. I thought this was going to be a completely, huge waste of time. That was the Pikmin Bloom section. I played.
In my opinion, as soon as I saw Pikmin Bloom, I'm like, okay, they're setting some seeds for Pikmin 4 maybe later down the path, but no, they're setting it right fucking now. Pikmin 4 was announced, and holy shit, I'm honestly surprised that it even exists now.
I know. I was gonna say I played Pikmin Bloom like about a year ago, and I put it down after 5 minutes. It is such a boring concept for there's just it's not like Pokemon Go where you can collect Pokemon, do gyms, but that section was salvaged with
Pikmin Bloom really is for diehard Pikmin fans, which I love myself some Pikmin, have some great moments, have some great memories of it, but I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. But we did get Pikmin 4, which I mean, it's kind of crazy that it was announced. This is something that I feel like it's been like Nintendo's been working on forever, sort of like as far back like 2016, 2017. I remember they were saying, "Oh yeah, Pikmin 4 is in development, it's coming out," but like there was never any kind of info on it. But I mean, it's finally been announced as to when it comes out. You're not entirely sure, obviously, but I mean, it's on the way. So that was a super cool announcement.
It's gonna be fun.
Not to mention, the game looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you noticed that in the trailer, but ooh, that game looks good. Like, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I noticed the details even in the middle of stuff, but
I mean, it's great. I mean, the Pikmin games, I feel like on their systems have always been like the more graphically impressive games.
Oh, totally.
Because I mean, it kind of makes sense coming from the perspective of a small, kind of practically helpless like explorer. You're exploring this huge giant world, and you got these giant trees, all these giant like landscapes. You know, I think it's important that everything is like huge and intimidating. You know, it looks great. I mean, it helps to really like improve that atmosphere. So
totally.
So that was probably one of the better announcements of this entire thing. Given the fact that we're about to reach the third, I think, or fourth farm simulation game, I think it might be a good time to ask the major question of why the fuck were there so many farming simulation games?
RPGs in general.
So many RPGs. I feel like Nintendo Directs have had a real problem with that, but this one, they were all the same game.
The big problem. Okay, so I know there's people out there who are probably really excited for this shit, and to them, more power. Glad for that. But personally, for me, I don't understand. I don't see fully why there's a ton of RPGs during the summer.
There's such an unnecessary abundance of these games. There's like
or somewhat, and that's probably what they were during these directs. There's nothing wrong with them existing, but the fact that they're filling in for the directs is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of odd.
The only one that made sense to be like, if I had to pick. Remove all the other ones. Story of Seasons, a Wonderful Life, is probably
the only one that makes sense.
The only one that makes sense because I'm pretty sure it's based off of Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. It's of the same name. So
it's Harvest Moon, but without the licensing.
Yeah, exactly. But like, oh my god, there are games like Rune Factory or Various Day Life that have an emphasis on farming or like gathering materials. It is just such a it just seems to be like such an overdone concept, and it's just so like it was just so draining to see it at like a different version of the same game announced over and over again.
Yeah, and this isn't us just coming from the video Donkey made. This is kind of true. A lot of the Nintendo Direct had some really good stuff. But there were times where there was clearly needed spaces to fill, and this is what they found.
Well, like, even in previous directs, though, I don't think there's ever been an abundance of one specific genre. Maybe sometimes, like, anime games or, like, RPGs, but never this many of one specific game that, like... And a lot of them were really close together, too. So... I mean, it feels like a waste of a slot. Not to like take away from the effort that was put into making a game. That's not my place.
Or criticism against the game. It just feels it's just kind of jank to see it.
It's jank. I think that's a great like way to describe it. You know, it's a shame, but it was unfortunately like what the Direct is kind of like, the reputation it's garnered for itself. So I mean. If you're in the market for one of a million farming simulation RPGs, this is the Direct for you. One announcement that kind of interested me. I meant to go back and talked about this. There was that game Ib, I think it's called. It's about that. It seemed to be like a girl in an art museum who gets trapped in like.
Oh yeah,
art dimension thing. I thought the art style and the concept were really cool. That one honestly intrigued me a lot. I mean,
Yeah, totally. I think we should move on to our next announcement, probably, because
Yeah, it's fair. So next up was Bayonetta 3, which comes
we
out
already knew that
October
first one.
28th.
Oh, cool. October? Wait, October?
Yeah, it comes out in October, I'm pretty sure. At least I think of this year. I might be wrong. But, I mean, that is a big deal. I still need to, just like in the last episode, I still need to play those games. It's been a year later. I still haven't played the Bayonetta games. I have so many games on my backlog right now.
I've been busy with Elden Ring, personally, so... Yeah, I know. I'm playing Elden Ring 6 months after its release. Yeah, anyone want to... Yeah, true. And hey, I'm getting further. No, I'm kidding. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, it's cool it's coming out. You know, people have been looking for this for a long time, and I'm definitely gonna get to it when I can. I mean, I kind of like with Platinum games, I always like pick them up and never finish them. But I kind of changed after I played Rising.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Rising is really good. So.
That was my fault, by the way.
Well, yeah. Little trade.
All right, let's move on.
After that, we
Master Archives Ring Code. Oh man, this is funny.
By the creators of the Donkey Konga series.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, even just taking a look at the game of the trailer itself makes you think Danganronpa. And yeah,
it
not
looks
wrong.
like it. I mean, I didn't think too much of it. I think it still like seems kind of neat, but
It does. I think I'll probably take a hard rain check maybe.
Yeah, I mean it seems sort of like it has elements of like Phoenix Wright, Danganronpa in there, so
Yep.
they definitely have something going on. But let's go to the opposite of something going on. Resident Evil Cloud versions, because nothing will be going on.
Of Resident Evil.
Yeah, nothing will be going on because your internet probably won't work. I've had a really bad experience.
It will work, but it'll be like 1,000 times shit. And...
Yeah, exactly. I tried the demo of the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 demo, and I got a minute through Birth by Sleep before it completely disconnected me, and I was like right next to my router. So, internet didn't go out or anything. It was just really shit internet. So, I mean, it's cool that they're there, but I think it just really goes to show that, like, whatever new console is being developed after the Switch really needs to have specs that are on par with PlayStation and Xbox, like an Xbox. Like, I mean, at this point, it's not too huge of a deal when you see like AAA games released on the Switch as well as other platforms, but you're sacrificing a lot of
more than
the visual appeal, stuff like that. And I get it. Like, the trade-off is that you get a portable system, which that makes sense.
Like, technically not portable.
Well,
unless you have it on the go, then I don't think you can play.
Cool, yeah, cloud versions are completely not portable, so that completely takes away from it. Streaming, I hate the idea of just streaming games over an internet service. I understand that, like, in some cases it really does work, but it just like it's so flimsy and faulty. Like,
perfected is what it is, and it's something that probably should be perfected for this kind of stuff. And until it is, it's just gonna remain not as okay.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of how. I mean, again, if it somehow does run well, that's great. I mean, the final. Why was I about to say Final Fantasy? The Resident Evil 8 seems really good.
Well, after Sifu.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 7 and 8 seem like really good games I still haven't tried yet, but I should also get onto that. So cool that they're there, but if you have an alternative way to play it, I would say that
that's recommendable.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, following those announcements, other smaller announcements, I thought that Tales of Symphonia Remastered was a cool announcement. I've heard a lot of things about that game, and hey, it looks like something I might try. I like the main character, and the plot seems kind of cool. So
I'm good. I'm Let me tell you something. I played ever since that last announcement. I've played through several RPGs, most of which I enjoyed the shit out of. But I am good at playing RPGs for a good while, at least until December. But even still,
no, that's
I'll
fair.
probably still be like on edge.
Well, yeah, I get that. You gotta just take a break, kind of thing. But I think that was cool. I mean, it seems like it's a very like highly regarded game. I think they released on the game.
I didn't think about it. Yeah, something like that. The guy, it was the Lloyd guy.
Yeah. The only reason I knew about his existence at first was because of Smash Flash 2.
Smash Flash 2.
Yeah. And the original Smash Flash. He was
Oh yeah, he was in that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, one of the playable characters. So but for the longest time I didn't know what he was from.
Same.
So I mean that was cool. Another RPG I can put on my backlog that I'll probably get to much later, like with Final Fantasy 6 and 7.
Life is Strange Arcadia Bay collection. No comments, possibly.
I mean, it was like among the games that were announced in like the super short. Like, okay, we hear a few more headlines.
Oh yeah. I think we can just go briefly rust over those. Let's probably do that.
So I'd say the next pretty big announcement, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Yeah. I thought that was, I mean, that's pretty neat. I mean, of all like the 2D Kirby games of that era, it's not my favorite. Was that?
For me personally, this is my favorite Kirby game.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you've told me that before. My personal favorite is Planet Robobot still. I think that one is fair. Like the best designed one out of all of them just because of the mechanics. But Return to Dreamland is probably like second for me. The copy abilities are super cool. Having all that multiplayer aspect is cool. The level design is top notch.
That's mostly what sells it for me. The multiplayer and just the power ups. There's so much good stuff. But I do have one kick-in bias that I have to address. Why is DDD reverted back to his much older design? I know it was brought back in Forgotten Land, but fuck me, I kind of prefer the design they used for his game then. I
mean, it just seems like he's gone through quite a few design changes. Like,
definitely, but
So
I mean, his Smash. Yeah, I know he's had a ton, but I feel like the one that he had in that game already was just perfect. And I feel like, to me, DDD always felt like DDD's but probably my favorite character in the series, to be fair. DD's always had been more like goofy but somewhat serious. Yes. His new design feels more serious in general.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels a bit odd. And in Forgotten Land, that was perfect. I mean, he was a core component of that a core player in that whole game. But in this, it just feels a bit jank.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, like, why would they go through the trouble to change it, kind of thing? I mean, but like otherwise, it still looks like it's the same game. You have that new copy ability, which looks kind of like the jet ability from.
No, it's Mecha. So.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it kind of reminds me of it.
Totally.
And then you have a bunch of the new sub games. Bringing Samurai Kirby back probably makes this game a deal breaker in general. Classic sub game, good choice. But I'll definitely pick that up. That one, compared to Star Allies, is definitely one that's easier to play by yourself if you don't have people to play it with.
Yes, it's definitely, that's part of the reason. It's good both ways.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, no, completely. So I thought that was going to be the last announcement, but
I thought it was the last announcement because I completely missed this one, I'll be honest, because I was in a bit of a rush.
Yeah, but fortunately, that was not the case. We had one more announcement, and probably the highlight of the Direct, as well as probably the main focal point of this discussion. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Goddamn.
I mean, unfortunately, there wasn't as much gameplay as I would have liked. It seems like it's advertising itself as a sequel to Breath of the Wild, so you should know what to expect, but there are just so many different ideas being thrown at the table. I want to know more about them. I want to know more about them, but I assume they want to try and keep it
Hide everything,
suspenseful.
hopefully.
Try and make it a surprise. Which, fine.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. But I can't help it. I am so excited for this game. There are just so many the part where he was flying on the bird, the using the Sheikah slate to go up and go. There's such a more of an emphasis on aerial movement, which is just a really really cool idea. I for some reason I have a soft spot for being able to maneuver quickly over in the air. I don't know why. That just I think
fair.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that. But while I think it was unfortunate that they didn't show as a lot of detail, I think the fact that it comes out, I'm pretty sure on the last day of the spring semester for me, so that's something.
Wait, when does it come out?
May 12th, I think.
Oh, you're done May 12th? Well, I'll see when I'm done.
I assumed roughly around the same time, but that's gonna be one hell of a game to start the summer with. But I can't help it. I like the original Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time, as I feel like it's many people's favorite. So it's looking really good. I know there wasn't a lot of gameplay, but I can't help but have my bias take control here. Big deal. Probably the best thing that came out of the direct, and
For me, that was Pikmin 4, though.
Well, yeah, I think Pikmin 4 I'm just as excited for. I think it's just my Legend of Zelda bias.
Oh, totally. That's fine. That's fine. Everyone's got their personal favorite. What's the favorite announcement? Of course, but there is one decisive. There is one absolute There is one announcement that is everyone's favorite, and it's objective. It's a fact. It's Fist of the North Star Fitness Boxing. Let's go.
That's probably unanimously the best one. Now they just got to make a JoJo boxing game.
I totally would.
That would be really.
I'm totally buying it as a thing, just for stupid giggles.
Genuine banger.
But let's get down to the other stuff time.
And that was kind of how the direct wrapped itself up.
Yeah.
Like I said,
let's go through. Oh,
sorry, keep going.
I was just gonna ask the questions.
So, I think, yeah. I guess we can start with what we thought was the strangest announcements of this direct.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess if I had to start, I don't know. I guess if I had to pick, if we're going with strange as in out of left field, I want to say probably the Fist of the North Star Fitness Boxing, because I'm pretty sure it is made by Nintendo. So I thought that was definitely a strange concept, but I think it's cool.
It could be a mod of fitness boxing, because I thought that was a thing.
Yeah. Maybe. I honestly I wouldn't be surprised.
If either way, I'm picking the fucking game up. No doubts given. Another strange one I thought that was a bit out of left field was Master Detective Archives.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just I'm just surprised that it exists at all.
Yeah, it's fair. I know that they made that other game last year.
Yeah.
That was sort of similar, but I can't remember the name. I don't really follow much of what comes out there.
Yeah.
Other than that,
let's probably move on to best announcements, I guess.
Best announcements. I've kind of already said it. I think that this Zelda is probably Zelda, Pikmin 4, and Bayonetta are probably the best announcements. If the Switch Online expansion pack wasn't so overly expensive, I would say that would be pretty good, because you're getting the first 3 Mario Party games as well as a few others in one package. Mm-hmm. But Switch Online.
They still haven't made it worthwhile. Yep.
Yeah, right. But Pikmin 4, Zelda, and Bayonetta 3 are probably the biggest in my opinion.
The big top dogs. Yeah, I think that for me that's probably what I can say as well. They're definitely the 3 games I was definitely looking forward to when I saw them.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of them are games that like that I think a lot more people enjoy. Like when Xenoblade Chronicles 3, from what I'm hearing, is pretty good. But I remember it was announced as like the final announcement for I
For
forget
a
what.
direct a while ago.
Yeah, I'm forgetting which direct it was, but like that one's a bit more niche, So it's like, yeah, a certain crowd will be, excited, obviously, as they should. But ending with Zelda, I think was a really big deal. I think.
Big move
Yeah,
on there.
well, especially because the Sony State of Play Direct premiered the same day, and pretty much spit out hundreds of awesome titles. So at least Nintendo ended it on a good note. What was that?
Tekken 8, let's go.
Yeah, right. I honestly, if we had more time, I probably would have been cool to talk about both. But alas, we only have time for about one of the announcements. Yeah, but
Nintendo channel, so fuck it.
yeah, right. They were like evenly spaced out. They're really good announcements. I think it was a bit slower at first because we didn't get anything too insane, but it kind of began to pick up near the end, which was good because I noticed the first act we weren't getting anything that was like, wow, wowing anyone.
What? I think we should just cover this now. What do you think was the worst announcements?
Worst announcements? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point too. I think it was the just abundance of RPG games, whether it was simulation or not.
Farm simulators, yes.
That
and I'm not talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass wave 2. That shit it's an expansion pass. It gets a pass for me in that case. Yeah. I just don't mind it too much. It's just an extension to a game that Nintendo heavily repped.
Yeah.
So gets a pass for me. But in terms of like having so many farming simulators and whatnot, it just feels like I said, it's jank. It's kind of odd, and it definitely feels like they just needed something to fill the space before they got to the big stuff.
Yeah, it just kind of screams lazy in a way.
Yes, and not lazy as in terms of design, but more lazy as in terms of them setting up a presentation.
Yeah, completely. It definitely like brought it down a few pegs, but I think it just collectively that was probably like the worst announcements that came out of the direct. I don't think I could pinpoint a specific one that was like super bad.
No, they weren't, of course, because they weren't inherently terrible games. There was just too many in the same space. It's kind of like, it's like having too many. It's like having a bunch of cookies and like 90% of them are the same. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
No, completely. I completely agree with that. And I think that also like counts as just like that was just what this direct boils down to. It was a presentation that had some good and a decent amount of bad. So it just kind of leads to an overall meh kind of experience, like a lot of directs are.
I give it an outright pass in my book.
Yeah, I mean, do I completely regret waking up early to watch it before my class? But
you waked up. Wait, what?
So my class.
When do you wake up?
My class doesn't start till 11 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I usually wake up at like 10ish.
Oh, okay.
But I just lucked out with my schedule. So at the end of the day, the point is, I guess it was somewhat worth waking up for, but it definitely has garnered a bad reputation for it, and was probably overshadowed by the state of play by PlayStation. So
definitely.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but we got some decent announcements out of it, and that is what matters. But honestly, I don't think I can really think of anything else to say about it. I think I kind of got all my points across. Yeah, I mean, what was that?
I got nothing else sad, really.
Yeah. I think we covered all of the basis. But in conclusion, that was the Nintendo Direct that premiered on the 13th, and I thought it was fair to talk about it since everybody's talking about it right now. It seems even my buddies who don't play Nintendo games know.
I wish we could have done the one in February.
I know.
One in 2021's February.
Yeah.
Not the 22. Oh man, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, right. No, I plan to do more of these kind of podcast kind of episodes. Like I like doing them. It's just like I need to find people that to fit the specific topic I want to talk about, and just find time to do it. You know. Yeah, stuff like that. But anyways, conclusion, that is about it. Thank you everybody for tuning in for this episode, and I hope to be back with some kind of interesting topic to talk about, no whatever it is. But
whatever.
Yeah, in conclusion, thank you all for tuning in, and I will probably see you guys in October for what I have planned for Spooky Month. So stay tuned for that. See ya.
Bye bye.